just keeping it real casual, and this is life. Okay, say la vie. So, hi, we're joined with Rebecca Dodson of Riverbend Farm.
Hi.
I'm really excited to be here and talk with her about her inspiration for Riverbend Farms and what it's like to be a business owner, what she would like to see for the future of Riverbend Farms, and really anything that she's wanting to share with us about this beautiful place. Okay? So, hi, Rebecca.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
We're so glad to have you here this weekend.
I'm glad to be here.
Yes.
We go way back.
We do. Yeah, all the way to, kindergarten maybe, or even preschool. We were talking about that last night.
Yeah,
so we've known each other for a long time.
Yeah. It's been great.
Yes.
You know, it's nice when you can have friends for a long time and, like, you don't see one another or talk for a while, but then when you finally when you finally reunite, it's like you not skip the beat.
Yeah, you pick right back up where you left off. Yeah. I feel like that's a rarity. It's a special friendship.
Yeah,
so.
Agree.
Yeah.
So Becca and I met up again after many years. So after we graduated high school up until a few years ago, when there was about 4 years ago, the total eclipse, and happened to be in Tellico Plains was when it had the most totality. So I came down and joined Becca and her family here, and this was prior to the opening of the wedding venue, and so we had a chance to reconnect and talk, and so it's been great.
Yeah.
Really great ever since. So I'd like to ask Becca this morning what was the deciding factor, or if there was a actual turning point or a click or a moment of spark of inspiration that kind of said, yes, I'm going to do this.
Yeah. It's funny because we've been here now 13 years, just starting our 4th year doing weddings. So probably about 5 years ago, we'd always talked about doing something at the farm, with the community, or, something creative. We just didn't know what. And we had a young lady contact us about possibly getting married here at the farm. And so that just planted the seed, and we said, we feel like this is God's way of saying go for this. And so we immediately began the next day tearing out the barn. The barn's 100 years old, and it was not suitable to host any kind of event then. And it just took off from there. And our first wedding was 3 years ago this past week.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay. So happy anniversary.
Yes, absolutely. And
Yeah.
so it's just grown from there.
Okay.
And that's really what started it, was just that phone call and feeling like that was the right move to make.
Like an answer
Yes,
to a question.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. So did you know this person?
I knew of her.
Okay.
They're a local
They
couple.
local? Okay.
Yep, they're a sweet local couple, and they contacted us about getting married here, but the date that they wanted, we used to host a father-son retreat here on the other side of the property, and there's usually lots of boys and their dads here that weekend, and so they decided to get married somewhere else just because of that, knowing that there would be a lot of people in and out for another event. But we've kept in touch with them over the years. We see them in town, and so without them, I don't know if we would be where we are today. Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, it's so funny.
I love how those things happen. It's like, you're going along in your life, and sometimes there's this big giant pause of like, what's next, or what are we going to do, or, and it's really easy for us to kind of stew in our heads constantly and worry, and then something just kind of parts the curtains, or opens the door to that clarity.
Yes.
And it's pretty magnificent how that happens.
Yeah, yes. Jason was getting a little burned out with construction, and I was, working at the school here in town, and so it just came together at the right time.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So when someone, so that's how they contact you. They just say, "Oh, I think I want to check this out," and then you give a tour. How does all that?
Yeah,
How does it go from, "I think I'd like to have a wedding at this place," to "I do"?
Yeah, it's quite a process, but it's a fun process.
Yeah.
They can reach out to us, through social media or through our website, or Wedding Wire is another place we have our venue listed. And so once we begin communicating with them and they find out our wedding packages and all that we have to offer, they then schedule a tour. And usually they're touring many venues. We're not the only one. Lots of times we're the first one, but they'll I guess they've narrowed it down and know they want something rustic and outdoorsy if they come to us, and then they'll go tour others, and then they usually reach back out to us if it's something that they want to book and see what dates are available, and then we book it and start the planning process from there, and then we try to help them throughout the whole process until they say I do and they depart that night after they're married. Yeah, it's fun.
So your process is also, it's not just a venue, a space for them to have, but you also are there with them along the way to help with the planning?
Yes.
Okay.
So, we coordinate, we decorate, we can cater, we can DJ. So we have a bunch of in-house services we can provide.
Okay.
They don't have to use us if they don't want to. They're welcome to bring in their own vendors, but we like to be as involved as they'll allow us to be.
I'm sure.
So,
yeah,
it's fun to be hands-on and to help them, throughout the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite part of the process, like that you get to and you're like, "Oh, I just love this part every time"?
I think at ceremony time, when the bride's song begins playing and I get to kind of go behind her and fluff her gown and fix her veil, and then those doors open and she begins walking down the aisle, I cry every time. But it's like that moment like you've been building up for. Some weddings we plan over just a few months, and then others we may work with the couple for 2 years.
Okay.
And so, it's like that moment I feel like, not my job is done, but, that moment we've been building up for is finally taking place. And it's very rewarding and fun, and I get emotional.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And then, like, as far as you mentioned working with a couple, how do you notice any, like, are there any changes that you notice that happen with every couple through this process? Or are there certain points in the process you feel like the couple kind of gets to this, like, moment, and how do you kind of help them through that? Or do you help them through that? Or are you just kind of like...
Yeah, I would say the closer to time, a lot of them start getting more nervous, and they, all the little things begin adding up, all these little details they haven't thought of. I mean, it may be something as simple as different signage to use, or decorations, or just thinking through the process of the ceremony and how that's going to go. But you've got the big picture and you pick out all the big main things, your caterer, your baker, your florist, your photographer, but then there's lots of little details that are a part of each of those. And so at some point it almost becomes overwhelming for each of them, but I try to talk them through it and help them out as best I can. So, but those last couple months leading up to it, it usually seems to kind of all of a sudden hit them, and
this is about to happen.
Yes, and they'll reach out and say, I don't know, is there anything I'm not thinking of? Tell me if there's something I'm leaving out. And usually they've thought of everything, they're just overthinking it and thinking they've missed something. So
just trying to cover all categories.
Yes, absolutely.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And so they've had the wedding, then they, which is, we'll tour that a little later. They have the wedding, beautiful view, beautiful setting, and then they move on to the reception, which is held in the barn, as Becca mentioned, a 100-year-old barn that they restored. And so once they're there, which there's also a bridal suite, is that what you called it?
Yeah.
For the bride to get married. The bride's going to get married to herself in there first. It's not a bad idea. But where she gets dressed, and her anyone who's in her wedding party can hang out there with her until the big time. And then after that, you go back to the barn, and it's all set up for the reception.
Correct.
So as far as that, what do you have anything that you like to offer or say about that?
They just, as soon as the ceremony is over, usually, you know, the family and wedding party remain back here for pictures, and then the guests just flock to the reception, and there's usually music playing. Sometimes, you know, they can have a drink or hors d'oeuvres, and all the tables and everything are decorated for the evening, and, you know, the music's set up and it's playing. Lots of times there's outdoor games for the guests to enjoy, maybe cornhole or can jam or giant Jenga, and so it's just a fun atmosphere. And then they come in and they eat and mingle and do all their dancing and cut the cake and have some sort of an exit to kind of wrap up the evening. Lots of them exit, you know, through sparklers or whatever. So there's all these key parts of a reception that we try to make sure, you know, take place, and that's just where all the fun happens. You know, it's like they're married and they finally can relax and enjoy the evening.
And so during that time, are you still coordinating? Would you say that you're coordinating the kind of from start to finish?
Yes, because the photographer has a certain timeline that I have to be aware of to make sure she or he gets all of their important pictures, and then to make sure if there's supposed to be speeches or toasts, those take place. The bride and groom's first dance, father-daughter dance, mother-son dance.
And how do you not forget some of these? Do you make yourself a
we have a day of wedding day timeline.
Okay.
And it just tells you throughout the day what time everything's going to take place. And it can be tweaked, but it just kind of keeps everything in order. And then, you know, they toss the bouquet, toss the garter, cut the cake. So you just have to make sure all those important things happen. So, yeah.
And talking about that, like making those important things happen, it's kind of everybody in your family has an important role, which I think is just amazing. Becca has 3 children and husband, and they've kind of all taken on and agreed upon being a part of this event.
I don't know if the kids agreed, but they don't have a choice.
They don't have a choice. They make the best of it. I've seen them.
Yeah.
They don't complain from what I see. I'm sure there's moments we all complain. But they seem to really just have kind of fallen into their roles, and it's really neat to see them have an important role in something that's bigger than themselves.
Oh yeah.
And not only is it bigger for themselves than themselves, that it's for the family, but it's also bigger than the family, that it's helping build new families.
Yes, correct.
So for them to be part of that, I think is really neat.
Yes, they each have their job. They know that they have to help set up the ceremony benches the morning of the wedding, or they used to have to put the lanterns out on the pond. Maddie in the barn will help me decorate for the receptions. She has her own little photo booth that she'll set up at weddings.
Maddie's quite the artist.
She is, yes. And
she's amazing.
Yeah, she likes being involved, and she'll help with the cooking if we're catering. So, they all have their certain roles, and we couldn't do it without them. So, I'm thankful for them.
So, there's been a little bit of news in Becca's world as of, I guess, the beginning of April. It became official that they are adding on to Riverbend Farms. Very exciting. It's kind of been something I think in the possibility realm for a while, and it happened. So we're really excited for her about that. So I'm going to let her kind of tell you a little bit about what that is.
We purchased our brother-in-law and sister-in-law's property that adjoined ours, and so we now have, I guess, roughly 15 more acres, and then a couple of cabins and barns. So we can now offer on-site accommodations. Probably 80% of our couples that get married here are out of state, and so when they come to Tellico Plains, they need a place to stay, and they usually make a long weekend out of it. And so we work with a cabin company in town that provides accommodations for a majority of the guests. But now we have, you know, a nice cabin here on the property that sleeps 7 guests, and then we have a larger barn that we're eventually going to remodel that will be able to house more people on the property. So we're excited about that.
It's very exciting.
Yeah, expanding and just seeing where it takes off and goes from there. So,
Do you have, talking about expanding, do you have any like clear ideas of things that you would like to do, that you want to share, like visions that you see for Riverbend Farms?
We talk about stuff all the time. And it usually talking about it leads to a project. Usually January, February are slower months for us, and even July. And so that's usually when we try to do projects, or if we've had an idea or something, we take care of it in those months so it's ready when the wedding season starts. So we've talked about possibly putting another ceremony location over there,
Oh, wow.
or
Okay.
hosting. Say we have an event in our barn and we can't host a rehearsal dinner for somebody, so
Okay.
maybe hosting the rehearsal dinner over there while we still have a wedding and reception over here. So we haven't thought through all those details, but it's an idea. Yeah. So we'll see where it goes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And so that's something that you offer too, the rehearsal dinner.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they can book the barn and come in and either just do their rehearsal walkthrough and then go on about their evening, or they can go ahead and have their decorating done, and either we can cater and provide the rehearsal dinner, or they can bring in outside catering. And if the barn's available, lots of groups do that. That way they're all getting to town that night, and they're all going to be here for their rehearsal walkthrough anyway. So they can kind of gather and eat and just visit
all in one
and mingle.
place.
Yes.
Keep it simple.
Yeah, and then they usually head back to their cabins that evening, and then they're back over here the next day for a full day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yes.
And do you have a certain thing that when you decided, oh, we're going to do this, that you, oh, I never thought of that? Is there something that you were just like, oh my God, how could I have not even thought of that? Like that's such an obvious thing, but
yeah, just probably like the parking is something so simple as parking and getting the guests from the parking lot to the barn, because we put in new parking and a new driveway about 1.5 years ago. So before that, guests would park up our older driveway and we would bring them in on a wagon. And it's so funny now to think that that's what we used to do. I can't imagine doing that now. So, we had to, with growth, we purchased more property and put in a new driveway and parking lot, so it's more convenient and just makes more sense. And then just things like that you don't think of early on, because we were just so excited and ready to open, but then it was like, where are people going to park? And how are we going to get them to the barn? Especially if it's a rainy day, how are we going to get them there? And so just little things like that along the way.
And if it is rainy, do they have the ceremony in the
Our
barn?
plan B
That's
is
the plan
in
B.
the barn.
That's great.
Yep. So we were able to slide the tables over and set the chairs up in rows and have an aisle going down the middle. And as soon as the ceremony's over, we pull the tables back out, chairs go back around them. It takes less than 10 minutes, and it's ready to go for the reception. So, they've got a peace of mind knowing that if for some reason there's inclement weather and they can't
just
get married.
right there.
Yeah, it's just right there.
It's not like we have to up and go elsewhere.
Yes, or throw up a tent or anything. Yeah. So.
Because everybody knows how to throw a tent up really quickly.
Yeah, exactly. So they just get to go to the barn, and everything's down there. So it's kind of simple and convenient because everything's under one roof. So.
So kind of what I hear, which is really, I think, always for a creative or anybody, is that, you kind of you start your project and then you work on what's at hand, and then the next thing kind of presents itself. And then, okay, well, we finished that, and then now let's see what presents itself again.
Correct, yes.
And so I think one of the key things is that just start where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Once you have that idea, just start with what you have, where you are. Let go of the idea that it needs to be perfect, and just go with it and learn from there.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, I agree. Once we got going, we finally realized what other needs and wants were that we needed to add on. Or we might have couples come to us and say, do you offer this or that? And we thought, well, we don't, but we could, you know.
That wouldn't take much to offer that.
Exactly. So that's kind of how things have evolved and changed over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. It is. It's pretty neat.
It's such a process of kind of being open to receive ideas from what their desires are, and also being able to execute them. And, so it's like being open and then also being active.
Yes, absolutely.
That's neat.
Yeah.
So maybe you have, if you could sum up the experience that you would like for a new bride and a new groom or family to have or to feel when they come to your farm.
Yeah.
Like in 3 words. It doesn't have to be a
boy.
sentence. It could just be 3 random words that you know, feel like.
Yeah. For us, it's very rewarding, and it's an honor for them to put their trust in us to host their child's wedding. And with each of my brides, I always think of them as my daughter, as Maddie, and I think, you know, what would I want for her on her wedding day, or how would I want her to be treated? And so that, I think that's why I like to be as involved as I can be, and to try to make their day as perfect as possible. There's always something that may come up, but everybody else may not. You know that there may have been some little imperfection or something that didn't go right. And then just, you know, for brides, my advice would be just don't be afraid to delegate, because a lot of them want to be in control of every little thing and do it all themselves, which I understand because it's their wedding day. But, you know, you want them to enjoy it, so don't be afraid to delegate different tasks.
To say, this is what I need, you guys.
Yes. That way there's less on their shoulders, and they're actually able to kind of relax and enjoy the day. And lots of times I see the mother of the bride take on the stress and all the responsibilities of the day. And so the mother of the bride lots of times is exhausted at the end of the night. So even for her to not be afraid to, you know, pass on some tasks to other family or friends, you know, or me, that's why we're here. So,
Cool.
Yeah.
That's neat.
Yes.
So, well, I think that, is there anything more that you want to talk about Riverbend, or did I miss anything? I'm trying to think if I had certain questions that I forgot.
I feel like we've hit everything. I mean, we talked about the ceremony and the reception and how it all came about. So I'm thankful you're sharing it with everybody.
I'm thankful you're letting me.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
this has been fun, and I can't wait to see who you interview next. I think it's a wonderful thing that you're doing.
Thank you.
So yes, absolutely. Yes.
So we are going to give you a little view of the farm and the barn and the ceremony area, and just also the beautiful mountains that we're kind of surrounded by. Can't really see them from this angle, but so yeah, we're going to thank you for talking with us.
Yeah,
and,
thank you. Absolutely.
We'll let you give us a little tour.
Sure, that sounds great. Hi, so this is our barn at Riverbend Farms. This is where all of our receptions take place. It's a 100-year-old barn. It used to house our cattle, goats, donkeys, ducks, chickens, and then about 4.5 years ago we gutted it, remodeled it, put in hardwood floors. We've got a couple of heating systems in there, fans, kitchen, bathrooms, dance floor, a bar area, our bridal suite, and we've built the farmhouse tables that you'll see in there. So it's just a fun space. After the ceremony wraps up, all of the guests in the wedding party makes their way to the barn, and so we're going to go in and show you around. Out front we always light a fire pit, and we have seating that goes around it, so lots of people like to make s'mores and gather around it, especially during the fall. But it's a fun place, so I'm excited to show you inside it. Hi everybody, so this is our barn at Riverbend Farms. Like I said earlier, it's 100 years old. Used to have just a very uneven dirt floor. Our cattle had been in here, so there was, you know, manure. It just had a smell, and just an old barn, working barn. We tore out the upper level. There were calf stalls and fences in here. We used to feed baby calves in here, and so all of that got gutted and taken out. And we put in the hardwood floors, the chandelier, all the Edison lighting. We hung the fabric. So this is where the reception takes place. Bands and DJs set up over in one corner. We have a kitchen, bathrooms. We put the TV up for football season, because lots of times on a Saturday, that's a deal breaker here in the South if there's a game on. And then we built all the farmhouse tables that you'll see inside here. And then up around the back is the bridal suite, where the bride and bridesmaids get to spend their day getting ready. So we'll show you around in here. So these are our farmhouse tables. Jason and I built these by hand 2 years ago. We had lots of couples that were wanting to rent farmhouse tables to have at their reception, and so we thought, well, why don't we just build them? So we got the wood from some friends of ours whose grandfather owns a sawmill across the river. So it's all local lumber. Brought it here. We sanded it, planed it, stained them, sealed them, all on our own. And we have 18 of them. They seat 8 guests at each table. So it was a lot of work, but I'm proud of them. And I feel like, you know, they're elegant and they go with the barn in general. So this is what everybody sits at when they are here for a reception. So, and then I love the wood burning stove. We have a couple of heating systems, but I think it's a neat feature. A lot of people during the cooler months like to gather around it, and we always keep wood in it, and there's a blower on it, so it blows heat out, and our older guests really seem to, you know, like it. So that's another neat feature, I think, in the barn. And then probably the chandelier that Jason made, our mason jar chandelier. It's heavy, and hoisting it and getting it up to where it's at was quite a process. But most people that come in, they always comment on the chandelier and how much they like it. And then I will show you the bridal suite. The bridal suite was in our house the first year we did weddings. A room that had been our office, we never used as an office. So we thought, well, we need a bridal suite. And so it served a purpose for a year, and then we thought, let's add one on down here. So I'll show you in the bridal suite. So it's about 2 years old down here, and it's just a great space for the girls to spend the day getting ready. Most hairstylists and makeup artists come here, and we'll meet with the girls. They usually start about 8 in the morning and have all their hair and makeup done. They'll have music going or the TV on, and sipping mimosas and just getting ready for their big day. So it's through this door. And the lights on in here. I cleaned it from our last wedding. So this is the space. It's just a fun, kind of nice girly space. We put up the whitewashed shiplap walls and got all the lighting in here, so that's where they sit and have their hair and makeup done. And we have heat and air in here as well, so we try to keep them as comfortable as possible. And we put the hooks on the walls for their gowns, and then a privacy area to change and get ready. So this is just a fun little addition, and the girls seem to like it on wedding day because it gives them a place on the property to get ready, and if they want to come out and decorate for a little while and then come back in here, they can. We put the guys in town in a cabin along the river, so they're not on the property. And then they just head this way, you know, right before ceremony time when they have pictures made, but the girls are here, so. So this is our outdoor ceremony location at Riverbend Farms. It's set up right now with my favorite direction to take in the mountain views with the river down below. So the guests sit on these ceremony benches that we built. We have 20 of those. And then the bride makes her way straight on down the aisle to the arbor behind us. The arbor can be decorated with fabric or flowers or lights. We have some brides that like to come down the aisle halfway and hang a right, and they have mountains and a valley as their backdrop. And then we have a lot that also like to come down and hang a left and get married under this huge chestnut tree. But straight down with all the mountains, especially in the fall, is my favorite of the 3 choices.
Hi, so we are wrapping up our time here at Riverbend Farms, and I would just like to thank Rebecca Dodson for hosting us this weekend for Simple Sweet Sunday, along with our beautiful little cat Bob. Bob is his name, not Bobcat, but Bob. And share with you a couple of little things that you can do this week throughout your week that doesn't require you to even roll out your mat. or change your clothes or anything. Super simple. Here we go. So we are going to start out standing and just inhale, take your arms up, and exhale, palms to touch. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, palms to touch. Inhale, sweep your arms up. And exhale, palms to touch. Let's take a moment here to close the eyes, set an intention. I'd like to set the intention for re-energizing. Let's take a nice big breath in and out. Good. Start to open your eyes. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Take hold of your wrist. Take a little lean over to the side. Nice and easy. Inhale, come on up. Place your arms down. Palms to touch. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Up and over. Little side lean. And come on up. Palms to touch. One more time. Inhale, reaching up. Little lean over to the side. And come up. Palms to touch. Inhale, over to the side. Come on up. And palms to touch. Each time we bring those palms together, reconnecting to that intention of energizing. Okay? So bring your hands onto your hips now and take a step back out to the sides. Let's take a external rotation and come into a warrior two. Arms are gonna reach out. And we're gonna actually take this into more of a bent knee version of a triangle pose. So we're not taking that full extended right angle, but a nice mild kind of triangle stance here. And start to extend that bottom arm. Broad through the chest and the back. And then bring your palms together. Come on, let's go the other side. Externally rotate that other leg. Reach out through your arms. Got a little mini warrior two. Hand is going to go down. And here's our bent knee variation of triangle pose. Yes, on a working farm, there's lots of animals running around. They really love yoga too. All right. One more breath here. Okay, bring yourself on up. Turn both hands, feet back to parallel, and step your feet together. Now we're going to turn to the side for a moment. We're going to do a couple little breaths here into a twist. Inhale, reach your arms up. Let's exhale, palms at your chest. And once again, inhale up. Exhale, fold over your legs. Let the head and neck drop. Inhale to a prepare pose. And then inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, bring your palms to touch. Let's take a step back with your left leg. And take your arms up and begin to slide the same arm as your back leg forward. We're coming into a nice little twist here. So twists are great for energizing. They're also really good for calming the body as well. So they're kind of a good cure-all type of poses, that category. Okay, so we're heating the body, which helps to quiet the mind, and it also helps to focus, which would be a reason why it helps to quiet the mind. All right, inhale, reach up. And then exhale, bring your palms together and step forward. Now take another step back with your other side. Right leg's gonna go back. You're gonna slide your right arm forward, your left arm's gonna sweep back. Here we are in a nice little easy twist, gentle. Just asking the body to try something different for a few minutes. Okay? 2 more breaths. Good. And then bring your palms to touch, reconnecting with that intention of rejuvenation, of re-energizing, and step forward. Good. Let's inhale, sweep your arms up. And exhale, palms to chest. let's take a balanced. We're going to come into a little dancer pose. Little dancer pose. You're going to reach back. Petite dancer. Reach back and hold onto the top of your foot. Join your thumb and first finger together in a mudra to create a circuit in the body. And then reach out. So we're not pressing into our biggest, most extreme variation of dancer pose, but we're just resting in a place where we can really breathe and let the legs root down and the chest to open. And release that up. Let's go the other side. Reach back. Nice and easy. And release it down. Okay, so let's inhale, sweep your arms up one last time. Just to integrate all of that. Bring your palms together, reconnecting with that rejuvenation, energizing. Good. And let's come to sit for a moment. All right. So come to sit in a comfortable place, either on your mat, on your knees, cross-legged, in a chair, wherever you can find. Let's go ahead and close our eyes just for a moment, okay? Close your eyes. And rest your awareness right at the center of your chest. Visualize that beautiful, vibrant, buzzing sunshine. Like a ray of sunshine just pierces the center of the chest and radiates in all directions, filling your entire body. So you're just this glowing shell of sunlight, radiance, rejuvenation. And now let that fill the air around you like a bubble. So even every time you breathe in that beautiful, radiant sunlight. Drinking it in through the breath, and every time you breathe out, just filling the space around you. And then let your palms meet at the center of your chest. Allow all of that light to gather into the chest and into the palms of your hands. Like you're holding that sunlight right in the palms of your hands. That radiance, rejuvenation. And let's take that right over the eyes. Let's sweep it up and over the crown of the head and down the back of the head, the neck, and around the throat, front of the chest, hips, legs, and into the soles of your feet. Bring your palms to touch once again. Start to open your eyes. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Thank you so much for joining us this weekend at Riverbend Farms, and I look forward to seeing you all next week.